Hello, I'm Howard Mann, creator of Conscious Shifting, and welcome to Conscious Shifting. Before we get started, a quick warning and disclaimer. Conscious shifting and all known side effects will improve your physical, mental, and spiritual health while creating the ideal environment for spiritual awakening, helping you live the life of your dreams, and influencing the world in a positive way. So, if that's something that's interesting to you, something you'd like to be a part of, then follow us on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube and then join us here Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. California time for Conscious Shifting. All right, now the way to communicate with us, whether it's on our daily thought provoking posts or during a live, is to simply put your question in the comment box and we'll answer it from a spiritual perspective. Let's get going here. Everybody, first of all, let's get relaxed. Let's get rid of some of the tension, the stress of the day. Everybody take a deep breath way down to that lower energy center, just below the belly button, and relax. And another big deep breath and relax. One more time, big deep breath. And relax. All right, so tonight's topic is sleeping your way to health. And so far, I see Rebecca and Tina, as am I, Tina, and Kim and Richard. So, sleeping your way to health sounds easy enough, doesn't it? I mean, if you can get into good health just by sleeping, how easy can it get? The truth is it actually is a problem for most people, me being one of them. Of all the things that I do that cause me problems with health, not getting adequate sleep is probably one of them. And there's a million reasons for it. I'm always on the go. I got a million things that I'm doing for everybody. And, for those of you that know me, I'm still getting over some nerve damage and cancer and some issues with pain and restless leg syndrome. So all this plays into your sleep, and it's actually far more important than most people realize. The quality and the quantity of our sleep is a major health indicator. Too much sleep isn't healthy, and in fact, it can be a sign of depression or an attempt to in some way escape reality. It can also be indicative of other health issues. Regardless, though, we don't want to sleep our life away. And for most people, the opposite's actually the problem. Over half of adults are sleep deprived. And unfortunately, ill health and disease are the result. Hi, Susan. Hi, Tracy. So, sleep is necessary, just like food and water. In fact, to be healthy requires about sleeping a third of your life away. Adults 18 and up require between 6 and 9 hours of sleep per night, depending on their activity level. And this is critical for good health. Lots of research has been done, all comes back basically saying the same thing. As a general rule, though, if you don't wake up in a good mood, ready to take on the day, then there's something wrong. And sleep might be part, if not all of it. Yeah, that restless leg business is it's tough. It really is. So we'll talk a little bit about that along with some other things here. The bottom line is that our bodies work very hard and they need a break. And sleep allows us to recover from the day's activities. So it's one of those cycles of life, really, when you get down to it. Some things, health wise, that is, simply cannot be done during the waking hours. So we have to go to sleep for certain health functions to be performed. Sleep, believe it or not, expands or extends, not just improves, but actually extends our lifespan and improves performance of our entire body and mind. So, some of the benefits of sleep are that sleep provides much needed recovery time for our body, and without adequate rest, we're going to prematurely wear out. Rest is crucial for the heart and lungs. They work 24 hours a day from the moment that we're born. Think about that. You're born and immediately your heart starts beating, and it doesn't stop the whole time you're here. Same with your lungs. And so, you can kind of, as a metaphor, use a car as an example. You typically don't get in your car and then just floor it, much less just hold it on the floor the whole time you're on the road. So that's kind of what it is if you don't get enough sleep. And so, in that sense, what sleep does is it takes pressure off of the heart and lungs, allowing them to slow down for a little bit. And even if it's just a little bit for a little while, over the course of a lifetime, that ends up being huge. Now, additionally, rest is paramount in its importance for the brain. Functions such as learning, memory, concentration, nerve cell communication. Speaking of restless leg syndrome, nerve cell communication, they're all associated with sleep. Clearing out toxins is another thing that the brain does while we sleep. So you don't want to accumulate a bunch of trash and poison and stuff in your brain, but if you don't get enough sleep, that's exactly what's going to happen. Growth and restoration of our vital systems, healing of our wounds, all improve during sleep. And while sleeping, the body and its energies are not preoccupied with the activities of being awake. And so this is especially true of the skeletal, muscular, nervous, and immune systems. When you're active and about, that takes a lot of energy. And so there's not as much for these other systems. And when you're moving, they can't really relax and get down to maintenance and healing functions. So sleep's critical for that. It actually significantly helps with you being disease resistant. It's also, believe it or not, required for good metabolism and weight management. You wouldn't think so, but it's true. And last but not least, sleep affects our moods, reducing anxiety and depression. Tracy says that, hi, Tracy says that sleep can be busy when you dream your days. When I was young, I had a hard time figuring out my dreams from waking hours. Kids are, they almost live in a dreamlike state up until about 6 or 7. They literally live in a dreamlike state. Their conscious hasn't really developed, and so they're just like these little information sponges. But they're kind of in a dreamlike state, and everything's new and exciting to them. They don't prejudge a lot of stuff. Susan says that she's sleep deprived. It was from her chiropractor adjustment last week. I think he bruised or broke a rib. From my scoliosis. Need prayers tonight. I've had bad pain since then. Well, that kind of doesn't help, does it? So sleep stages. And I'll get to why this is important, but just to give you a little bit of understanding of the sleep stages, we have an internal clock which regulates our sleep, and it's affected by light. We naturally will wake up with the sun and kind of start getting sleepy after dark. And, of course, we have artificial lighting, and when we have a lot of that on, it will or it can, I should say, alter the normal functioning of our internal clock. Now, there's 5 stages of sleep, and each one of them lasts between 5 and 15 minutes. They vary throughout the night, but roughly each one of these 5 stages lasts somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes each. And the exception is the 5th stage, which is called REM or REM sleep, and that can actually last up to about an hour. Stage 1 Stage one is a transition stage that is in between sleeping and waking. It's not really being asleep, but it's not really being awake either. It's what they call twilight. Um, and eye movement is, slows down. Muscle activity begins to slow. It's this light kind of in and out of sleep, and you're really easily awakened from it. In fact, you'll see people sometimes. You may be one of them. I do this. We'll in the evenings we'll sit down to relax and we'll put on some show I really want to see or I get interested in, and before long I'm doing this, and then I'm like that. Now, if you tell somebody, you were sleeping, they'll no, I wasn't, because they don't think they were. Um, After a while, it happens too many times, then you realize, yeah, okay, I need to go to bed. But that's stage one. It's not really sleeping, but it's hi Cheryl, how you doing? Hi Katja. Um, we could spend all night on that one. Kim's talking about when her mind talks to her heart or something weird like that. She hears her mind talking um when she wants to be sleeping. I there's some we could do a live on that. What is that? That's not really what I was going to talk about tonight, but that brings up a whole bunch of stuff. Um I know, for example, that um because I've as strange as this is going to sound, I've become aware of, almost like I was hearing the conversation. I woke up and our hearts were talking to each other, mine and Kim's, and we were both sleeping, but there was a definite communication going on. It's happened a lot of times, in fact, and maybe we'll get into some of that kind of stuff. What other things that may be going on when you're sleeping that aren't really sleep, you know, uh, more like communicating through other realms or traveling through other realms, going other places, that kind of stuff might be kind of an interesting live. Rebecca, my mind solves problems that I typically don't have the answers for when I'm awake. That too is actually a common occurrence, because you relax and some of what goes on when you're sleeping is the subconscious conscious kind of hashing things out, and it releases tension and stresses and confusion and fears and anxieties. And so you can get clear insight, and wake up from that. I do it fairly often, especially if I'm writing books, or when I'm writing a book, I should say. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll get up and go, oh, that'd be great. And I'll walk into the office and I'll write it down and then go back to bed. That, yeah, it's funny how when you stop um, putting, you know, a lot of focus on a problem, how all of a sudden the answers just kind of come to you. That could also be the subject of another live, where exactly that information is coming from and why. Lots of good ideas for lives tonight. I'll have to remember these. Sometimes I'll say that, oh, we're going to do a live on that, and then I forget. But I'll try and remember that because those would be great ones. So that's stage one, the twilight. This kind of not really asleep, not really awake, very easily awakened from that state. Not a lot going on, but then you slip into stage two. Now, stage two is actually a beginning of light sleep, and the eyes stop, the brain waves and the heart rate begin to slow down. The body temperature begins to drop, and there's some light sleeping going on. Still not really much in the way of dreaming. A lot of the functions that the body performs, health wise, are more in the deep sleep states. But still, this is sleep, and apparently all of these have to occur and in order in a number of times, which I'll get to in a minute. But stage three is the beginning of deep sleep. And here the brain waves continue to slow down. You start getting into really low brain waves, like deep meditation or hypnosis or something like that. Very slow brain waves, very powerful, but very slow brain waves. But you're still not completely into the deepest stage of sleep, because this is where sleepwalking and sleep talking can occur, because your muscles are still able to move at this point, and you can kind of start to have a dream, but still be able to move around and kind of live out the dream, as if it's really happening. And everybody will look at you, and you may act or say some strange things that don't really make a lot of sense, because it is, after all, more of a dream at that point. Then you go into stage 4. Stage 4 is deep sleep, and that's got the slowest brain waves. It's the hardest to wake you up from, by the way, too. And if you're awakened from stage 4, you're probably going to be disoriented. And most of the growth and repair, clearing out of toxins, all occur in this stage of sleep. Stage 4 is also when the immune system is brought back up to snuff, and our body's vital energies are restored. So there's a lot that goes on during deep sleep. Hi, Kathy. YouTube, awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. So those are the 4 stages of sleep. And then there's the 5th stage. And the 5th stage is what we call REM, or what it stands for is rapid eye movement. And you'll know if somebody's in REM sleep because you'll see their eyes bouncing around underneath their eyelids very fast, jumping back and forth. Hence the term rapid eye movement. And in this stage, muscles are paralyzed. And this is what the body does to prevent injury, because this is when most of your dreams, your really vivid dreams, occur. And you can only imagine if you were living out a dream and running and jumping and all that, and not knowing, in your dream, where you are, but you may be jumping in a field of flowers or something, and you're really jumping out of a 2nd-story window in real life. So that wouldn't work very well. So what the body does is it basically immobilizes or paralyzes us so that we can't injure ourselves. And then we have these really, really vivid dreams. And the brain activity, the breath rate, the heart rate, the blood pressure in REM all resembles waking states. The body doesn't, in a way, the mind doesn't, in a way, know the difference between those dreams and what we would do when we're awake and going through normal life. And we spend approximately 2 hours per night in REM. Learning ability, memory, those all are very closely tied to REM. The conscious subconscious balancing is associated with REM. It's really what dreams are. They're all of the psychic information and stress and tension and impressions and things of the day, events, energies you've absorbed or been influenced by, your thoughts, your emotions. All this stuff all kind of hashes itself out between the subconscious and conscious levels in the brain during REM sleep, and that comes out in the form of dreams. That's why sometimes they seem so out there if you remember any of them, because it's not the type of thinking that you do when you're awake. It's, dreams can be really strange things. A lot of things can get confused with each other, like an alternate reality. And you're flying, but you're, through some different medium, and like alternate universes or realities. Things don't work the same. All of this happens in dreams, and it's just your subconscious, conscious kind of working things out. But in the end, it helps you to be psychically stable, and it kind of converts things to memory. Your memories are involved in this. Kim says, why do dogs still run and bark in their sleep, yet humans don't? We are the sleep patterns that are different. Well, we do. We just sometimes if you were to watch somebody sleep, even though the body, as I say, the muscles kind of get paralyzed, there might still be a little bit of movement. And so you'll see the dog's feet kind of moving a little bit. Now they're in a full run probably in their dream, but not, obviously if they were doing that in real life, they'd have the same problem we would. And it's similar for us too. Um, so what's all these stages and that we go through? What's the point of all of that? The point is that we actually, if you think of moving through stage 1 all the way through stage 5, that is one cycle of sleep. So you go through each one of those stages. That's one cycle of sleep. And you need 4 to 6 cycles of sleep per night. And a cycle takes for most people, most of the time, somewhere between 1.5 to 2 hours to complete. If you wake up during the cycle, it stops that cycle and it's got to be started over again. But we go through these cycles in order. So it's like if you wake somebody up during one of these cycles, they have to start back and go through stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have to go through all of them uninterrupted to get one cycle of sleep. And that takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. They've done all kinds of research on this. And what I found most interesting about it is that it doesn't seem to matter which part of the cycle gets interrupted. Sleep deprivation is the result. So they can put somebody in a sleep research project, hook electrodes up to them and all this kind of stuff, monitor them. They know what stage of sleep they're in. They can go in there and they can wake them up in stage 1 and then let them go back to sleep. Wake them up in stage 1, let them go back to sleep and do this. They'll be asleep all night long. And they can do this for stage 2 or stage 3 or stage 4 or stage 5. What ends up happening, no matter which stage, and they've singled them out. So they only wake these people up during stage 1. This group over here, they only wake up during stage 2. This group over here, only stage 3. It doesn't seem to make any difference. If you wake somebody up and they can't complete those 5 stages uninterrupted, even though they've been sleeping all night long, they get up in the morning as if they've got no sleep at all. Totally sleep deprived. So it's necessary that we go through these 5 stages uninterrupted, and we have to do that 4 to 6 times a night. Otherwise, we end up with sleep deprivation. Tina, I find that spirit visits me in deep sleep. Indeed. Indeed. We'll talk about that some night. Interesting you should say that. Yes, indeed. Yep, Susan, dogs that you can watch them, their tails will wag. Sometimes they'll bark and howl, and their feet will move a little bit. They're in full activity. They're just, the muscles are paralyzed to the point to where they can't literally run around and hurt themselves. Hey, Yellowhammer, how's it going? So I'm planning a trip out there. I'll call you because I want to do that hike up Spirit Mountain. But anyway, sleep deprivation causes mental as well as physical fatigue. And the symptoms, now listen to this and see if you have any of these symptoms. Because what you might discover is that you're not getting an adequate night's sleep, which is really the point of this whole live. Mental fog, including shortened attention span, impaired memory, or being accident prone. Those are all signs of sleep deprivation. Not the only thing that causes those, but sleep deprivation will. Same with anxiety, depression, grouchy mood, believe it or not, bipolar disorder. A lot of people that suffer from bipolar disorder have sleep issues. We actually become psychotic when we don't get enough sleep. And it starts out maybe just being a little grumpy, but over time it builds, and you can have you can develop something like bipolar disorder, or you can actually have a psychotic break just from not getting enough sleep. High blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, heart attacks and strokes, all associated with people that don't get enough sleep. Infections, disease, and cancer. associated with people that don't get enough sleep. Diabetes and obesity associated with people that don't get enough sleep. Alcohol and drug abuse associated with people that don't get enough sleep. So you can see, I mean, it's not like it's the only thing that causes these issues, but it does cause these issues. Hey, Ray, how's it going? Hi, Anna. So extreme sleep deprivation can result in extreme aggravation, psychosis, and even violence. So, all right, then what interferes with sleep? Well, there's some obvious things. Um, Nicotine and caffeine are stimulants. They alter that internal clock we were talking about, and that interferes with your sleep. So you want to probably lighten up on those, especially within, say 4 hours or so of bedtime. Believe it or not, a lot of drugs interfere with sleep, including sleep aids. Yes, sleep aids can interfere with your sleep. Imagine, I'm taking this because I don't get enough sleep, and yet it's causing me to not get enough sleep. Alcohol and cannabis, believe it or not, interfere with sleep and or suppress dreams. See, now not all of this means that you won't sleep. It just means that you won't properly sleep, which means you won't get what you need out of sleep, which means you're sleep deprived and you can have all those health issues. So, things like cannabis, alcohol, a lot of people use those to get to sleep. The problem is that it might help them fall asleep, but then later on interfere with the sleep. So you see the difference? Yeah, it might help relax them. They go to sleep, but then it interferes with their sleep. So even though they're sleeping, it's as if they're not getting any rest. Antidepressants, acetaminophen, and ibuprofen, believe it or not, all suppress dreams. That's that stage 5 predominantly. And so again, sleep deprivation. Now, if you need to take stuff, you need to take stuff, but just be aware that some of these things that seem so innocent aren't so innocent. Eating within 3 hours of bedtime interferes with sleep because the body's diverting a lot of energy to trying to digest the food. And then a lot of food, even without added sugar, a lot of food, starches and things break down into sugar, and that's a stimulant. That actually boosts your energy. Hi, Susan. Yes, it is. Sleep is important to every function of the body. Yes, and a lot of people, Kim says that she thinks that a lot of people are unknowingly sleep deprived. That's why once in a while I'll talk about this because a lot of people don't realize it, and they're having all the. You'll find that over time, if you listen to enough of these lives, you'll once in a while I'll just do a live, and it's more about health really than spirituality. But the reason for that is because a lot of people are unaware of it, and so it's information to help you become aware of it, which will improve your health, which will then allow you to also improve your spiritual health. If you're, for example, if you're sleep deprived or you're malnutritioned or you're sick or something, it makes spirituality much more difficult. You're going to get much further on the spiritual journey if you don't have all these distractions and obstacles in your way. So in a sense, physical and mental health, the reason I spend time talking about these things and trying to help with the basics is not because I'm a medical doctor or a psychiatrist or anything like that, but there are things that are relatively easy to understand that often are not understood by people or not recognized by people that will do wonders for your spiritual health and spiritual advancement. So we talk about those things. And the hope of lighting that is not full spectrum. Um, lightning, lighting that is not full spectrum. They throw a lot of terms around, and I although some of them I understand, some of them I don't. I think more in just basic terms. Uh, and another thing about practicing these just basic health things is that if you do, then you'll take a lot of things out of the equation. For example, if you go to a doctor and they're trying to diagnose something, it could be one in a million things. But if you know that you're getting proper nutrition, that you're hydrated, that you get adequate sleep, and that you have some sort of a stress management programs, you just took all of the most common factors that contribute to these diseases off the table. So now the diagnosis is going to be a lot faster to arrive at. There's a lot more clarity in what can be discovered about what may be because if you're still having health problems at that point, then there is something else going on. But it's kind of hard for a doctor. I almost feel sorry for them because you go in there and they're trying to figure out why your body's doing this, and it could be a million different things. And it could be that you're not getting enough sleep. It could be that you're not dealing with some negative emotions properly. Those things, I mean, if they're causing you physical health problems, that's kind of hard to diagnose. And that's something that you can treat yourself just by a healthy lifestyle. And so that's why I bring this stuff up. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Blue light. Okay. Okay. I'm way off on that then. Blue light is not good for sleep. Yeah, actually, darkness is best because the internal clock responds to darkness. For millions of years, when the sun went down, it told us it's bedtime, and so darkness is the best. The less light, the better. Richard says, I wear a smartwatch with a sleep monitor. Just fun to know how much deep sleep and REM and light sleep. Yeah, yeah. Susan says she has to put a towel over her sound machine at night. And Anna, they take other colors like red out and it's not natural. And that is affecting functions of the body. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So you want all the spectrums of the light. Okay, now I get the spectrum part. Oh, I was way off on that. Okay, so uh sometimes sometimes I just don't, You'd be amazed at the things that I pick up on sometimes. I can sense things with people, and then other times I can be quite off. I was taking spectrum completely off of what you were referring to. Apologize for that one, but yeah, um, you during the day you want all the spectrums of light, and at night none really. That's the best. So um, the sugar, the food, that'll interfere with your sleep. Especially if it's within, like I say, about 4 hours of going to bed. Intense entertainment. A lot of people will sit and watch TV, and a lot of these shows are they're either really high action or they're extremely violent. Those things tend to get the body all jacked up, and so you probably don't want to do that right before you go to bed either. You can watch TV or listen to music, but not something too rowdy because it's just going to key you up. Uh, Electronic devices like phones, computers, and video games, you probably don't want to be on those within a few hours of going to bed because that stimulation causes your body to wake up, like it's high noon or something. And it takes a while to wind down. So remember that internal clock works off of darkness. So any of these types of lights and or energy for that matter, sound, for example, if it's high energy, rowdy stuff, probably not going to sleep very well for a while. So you want to kind of get away from that stuff for 4 hours, whatever, 5 hours, so that your body can calm down, and then you can just kind of naturally go to sleep. Exercise and high activity. I'm not suggesting that you don't exercise, but within 4 hours of going to bed, that's not the time to do it because again you're pumping up your adrenaline, you're getting all these hormones and chemicals and energy, and you're keying your system up. It takes a while to come down from that. So you guys like those watches? Yeah. Yes. Yes. That believe it or not, the sun, during the day, not that you wanna stare at the sun, but being out in the sunlight at least a little bit each day is extremely healthy. Your skin absorbs it, and makes vitamin D, which is kinda like, a happy hormone type of thing, or what ends up happening in the body, people that don't get enough sun are prone to depression for that very reason. The light that's stimulated into the back of the eyeballs does do things in the brain, all necessary for good health. So, excessive napping, some people naps are a good idea. If they really burn out, in the early afternoon, a little nap is a good thing. But if you excessively nap, and you'll know that you are, because then you won't be able to sleep right at night, then don't nap, or cut back on it, because it's more important. In fact, I've seen research where they even say that the sleep prior to midnight is more healthy. In general, people that get a few hours of sleep before midnight are more healthy than people that don't, even if they get the same amount of sleep. There's just something about, millions of years of living with the sun coming up and going down. We've acclimated to that. And when we align ourselves with that, we're just healthier in a lot of different ways. Yeah, and then the dawn of the new day, if you get to bed on time, you can get up, and I see a sunrise every morning. Every morning. It's a good thing. So, what are some things that, would help with sleep? Not coffee, not even really caffeinated tea, but herbal tea. If you like, it gets kinda cold right now to me, and, so I like a warm drink, but herbal tea, not anything that's gonna get you all pumped up. I know it's only 6, but by 9 I'll be in bed, so, there you are, you're in that 4-hour window. But, some of the basics, again, going back to the basics. I could go through every disease that there is, and we could discuss all that's known about it, and get into all of the big words that none of us can really understand, and all the medical terminology, and graphs and charts, and all this kind of stuff, and statistics, and what happened in the control group versus the experimental group. But the bottom line is that, just the basics. A good diet with plenty of fresh veggies and fruit, along with whole grains, actually helps you sleep. Diabetes. I can go on and on all the stuff, but we're talking about sleep. So that same nutritional diet, it's the same one that is good for everything else in your life, also contributes to good sleep. Exercise, again, the same thing. We could talk about all the diseases, we could talk about, arthritis or whatever, but exercising 20 to 30 minutes a day is good for getting a good night's sleep. But again, you don't want to do that within a few hours of going to sleep. You want to do that kind of stuff earlier. Having a good bed. If you're constantly tossing and turning because the bed's uncomfortable, how much sleep are you really going to get? You spend a third of your life in bed, so maybe spring on a spend a little money, get a decent mattress. If you can't do that, at least you can get those toppers, that are 3 or 4 inches thick, and they'll work wonders. You can, if the mattress is really sagging, put it on the floor. I mean that. Just put it on the floor and then put a topper on top of it. It'll be nice and soft, but it'll be supportive. Um, and that bed, the energy around it should be, uh what's the word I'm looking for? conductive or uh, for a good night's sleep. So, it should only be used for sex and sleep. That's it, nothing else. And that way, you'll be just getting into that thing, you'll be getting prepared for bed because that's what you do there. And the energy that's imprinted and around that area will be more of a sleep type of energy. In the bedroom that the bed is in, and should be free of clutter, including electronics and work materials. A lot of people, they want to have a TV in there, they want to have a radio in there, they want to have their computer in there, they want to have their work in there. That tends to keep your mind occupied on things other than sleeping. I know some people have got in the habit of that, and they feel that it relaxes them, but it's energy that's not sleep energy. So just be aware of that. Sticking to a regular sleep schedule also helps because, again, going back to that internal clock, if you're constantly altering your sleep schedule, that clock has a hard time getting set. So it's always trying to adjust to whatever you're doing, and that throws your sleep way off. Disciplined relaxation time or some kind of a ritual prior to bedtime. It could be reading a page of scripture, or listening to some meditative type music, or it could be anything as long as it's calming, as long as you find it to be calming. um and for some people, like I say, that could be reading or television or music, but just again, just if you're going to do that, then don't have Dirty Harry on, or what's that one? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or none of this kind of stuff like that. Zombies. That's not going to help you sleep. Um, there's soundtracks that you can buy that are actually designed for sleep, and they use tones that are conductive to sleep. So you could try that if you want. Herbal tea, warm milk, maybe with a little honey or vanilla, something like just a little bit. You know, those types of things could be kind of a ritual, kind of get you ready for bed. A warm bath or shower, um, a light massage or some light stretching to help ease tension. Those are all good things. Deep breathing and meditation will produce a relaxed state. Uh, Normally, when you meditate, formal meditation, you want to remain alert. Actually, the healing circle tonight is going to be nothing more than a relaxation exercise. I'll show you how to use it to help you get to sleep. So if you have any of those restless leg problems, or you wake up and you're thinking about the next day at work, or you just got relationship problems, or problems with your kids, or the car's broke, whatever your issues are, if you wake up in the middle of the night and that's what you're thinking about, or your legs are flopping all over the place, or you're feeling anxious or depressed or whatever, tonight we'll work a little bit on something that will help you let go of that and just drift off into sleep. That's different than a formal meditation. But you can have a meditation session in the evenings as a routine to kind of get ready for bed, because it will put you in a relaxed state. Then you get up, get into bed, or take a shower and get into bed, and boom, you're out. So the bedroom should be then quiet and dark and a comfortable temperature. Now, if you find, I see comments flying by. Yes, warm tea. Cheryl says that she loves lemon ginger tea in the evening. There you go. That green tea is not caffeine free. Okay, so I'm not drinking caffeine free tea at the moment. This will be my last cup of this, then I'll have to switch to the herbal. Yeah, see, Anna says that she finds that natural food with fiber is good for sleep. Conducive. There you go. Thank you, Cheryl. Anna says grounding is good for sleep also. Yes. uh Love the healing circle for relaxing. There you go. So here's the thing though, if you do wake up and you're unable to get back to sleep and you're mentally you're going and physically you're fidgeting or whatever, and I'll give you an exercise to help with that, but don't really fight it. You know, um, you notice we work a lot on not resisting things, just kind of accepting them for what they are and learning to live with them. That's always a better way to go. You're going to get a lot further. You're going to heal a lot better. You're going to be a lot calmer that way. So if you find yourself awake and you can't sleep, it's better just to get back up, believe it or not, and then engage in some relaxation technique, or just read a little bit out of a book or watch another not too violent show on TV, something like that. Just get up and do something for a little bit to kind of relax you a little bit. And that's better than laying there getting all stressed and agitated because you can't sleep. But again, I'll give you something that I think you'll find will help quite a bit. I use it, and I have nerve damage and restless leg, and it's all up and down my spine, and my legs flop. And I use it, and it works for me. So hopefully, it'll work for you too. But in conclusion, whether we're discussing physical, mental, or spiritual health, proper sleep is crucial. It is, and it should be considered as such. Just like food and water, our body, our mind body requires downtime to rejuvenate. It's that simple. And without adequate rest, we're going to deteriorate and wear ourselves out. And the more sleep deprived we are, the less clearly and the less rationally we think. So we become far more likely to suffer from anxiety or depression. We're more accident prone. In that irrational, unclear mental fog, you're not going to make the best decisions, which then you're going to live the consequences of those. And lack of sleep weakens the immune system. So then now you're setting yourself up for disease, and that's not going to help either, right? So sleep and health go hand in hand. That's the bottom line. All right. So if there's any last minute questions, we'll talk about those, and then we will move on, and I'll give you a little different, not a formal meditation, but a relaxation exercise. And if it doesn't work, let me know. I've got other ones. I just think that this one is the simplest to remember and the least engaging. Some of the other relaxation exercises I have, if it's necessary and you need them, fine, I'll give them to you. But you have to put a little bit more work into them, mentally and in some cases even physically, to release tension. And so that's putting energy into things that are not sleeping. So this one that I'm going to give you, I think is probably the best one for the most people. Chamomile, there you go. Hey, Chris. Hi, Carrie. A foot massage. Yeah, Kim knows all about those. Those work too. Okay, so let me put this up and I'll give you this. There we go. All right, so now if you doze off, well, actually, I guess in a way that's a good thing. So just make sure that you're not sitting there something where if you do fall over, you're going to smack your head on the corner of a table or something. But let's go ahead and just like normal, we'll gather around and join hands, form a circle, and gently close your eyes and your mouth. But what I want you to do, even though we're together in a group here in the healing circle, is just think of yourself as being in bed, and maybe you wake up way earlier than you're supposed to be getting up for the day, and you want to get back to sleep. And so this is something you can do, just like in meditations. Begin with the breathing, because that always, there's no way that you can do deep breathing and not calm the body down. And typically where the body goes, the mind goes. So you can use that to your advantage. So deep breathing through the nose down to that area just below your belly button, and then breathe back out through the nose, and nothing forceful, nothing stressful about it. Just a nice deep breath way down to that lower energy center. And then exhale all of your tension. Just let it go right on out with the breath. That's the exercise in a nutshell. We'll take it a little further, but that's really it. So you let the breath continue breathing on your own at your own pace. You let the breath gently blow all of the tension away. You just simply exhale it. You release all stress and all worries. Let it go out with the breath. So you take a deep breath, and then if there's any worries or any stress or any troublesome thoughts, you attach them to the breath so that when you exhale, they go out with the breath, and they're leaving your body. Where you direct your attention, your energy goes. And so in this way, you can rid yourself of these other energies that are not conducive to sleep. So again, you take the deep breath, and then you just simply exhale all your stress and all your worries, and pay attention to the changes that you feel in your body, because what you'll notice is that your mind body will start slowing down as you exhale all troublesome thoughts. You'll start calming down. And notice that your breath and your heart rate will start calming down. You can even just laying there in bed, pay attention to those. Not that you're forcing it, just be aware, so that you notice the biological changes. Your heart rate is slowing down. Your breaths per minute is slowing down. And those are signs that you're slipping into deeper states of relaxation. So just go with that. And feel your mind body relaxing. Exhale all stress with each breath. Any stress, any tension, any troublesome thought, any worries you have, any pain, any disease, anything at all that you don't want, that doesn't have anything to do with sleep, just let it go out with the breath. So you exhale all this stress, and what you'll notice is that your muscles will start loosening up. You'll actually feel the tension leaving the body. Muscles will start loosening up and stretching, and it won't be as painful. Your joints will start expanding, they won't be as painful. And you just continue to subtly, as you breathe in, scan your body, and wherever you find tension or something that's not conducive to sleep, you let it go out with the breath as you exhale. And you feel your mind body, you'll start getting lighter. You may even start to feel as though you're floating. Just relax into that. Just relax into that. If you start getting sensations like that, go there. Relax into it. Exhale all that is not peaceful. And allow yourself to drift into peace. And what you'll find is by doing that, you'll allow yourself to peacefully drift off to sleep. And that's where this is a little bit different than formal meditation. You're not trying to stay alert. At first, you can be aware enough of your body to notice that your heart rate, your breath rate is starting to slow down, your muscles are starting to relax, your joints are starting to expand, but then just settle deeper and deeper into the relaxation, letting go with more and more and more of the tension, and then letting go with more and more and more of even the awareness, until you just drift into that place that's just light and fluffy and warm and comfortable. And you'll find that all of a sudden you'll be waking up and it'll be morning time. So with that, slowly open your eyes. And that's how you do it. You just let yourself go. And that's why I draw the distinction here, in that it's not like formal meditation where you're trying to remain alert and observe your thoughts and emotions and all that. Maybe at first, but it's more about observing the sensations of the body and noticing the changes that are taking place and the relaxation coming on and moving in that direction, and eventually even letting go, letting the awareness out with the exhalation of the breath, and you'll just drift off. And when you if you practice this a few times, you might find that it happens pretty quickly. But if you try this and you work at it a little bit, you'll get in a short period of time to where it does happen very quickly. I can usually put myself back out in a matter of a couple minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that, and I'm out again. And whereas before, I mean, it's like I wake up and I'm in pain and my legs are flailing and my mind's going and trying to crawl out of my skin. And to be able to wake up like that, and sometimes multiple times per night, and just by doing this little exercise, sometimes I don't even get all the way through the exercise and I'm back out again. And so I try this, and I think you'll find that it works really well for you. And if not, let me know, and I'll give you something else. But this one is just easy. It's basically just inhale and then let everything that's not peace, that's not conducive to sleep, go out with the breath. And you'll just kind of drift off into la la land, and that'll be that. All right. Hey, Chris. Health tip: for the past 3 months, I've been doing super beet powder for heart and arteries. It's worked wonders. Feel very youthful. They say beets are great for you. And I think that probably what you're taking tastes a lot better than if you prepare the beets right. I'm okay with it, but I've never been a big fan of them. Lately here, I've tried, Kim will make them taste better for me, but they're really good for you, really good for you. You're all quite welcome. And good, there you go. All right, so sweet dreams, everybody. I honor the God within you. And remember, until the next time, the only way to bring about the greater good is to be the greater good. Good night.